Hi, I'm Jennifer Quick. Today I want to talk about millennials, this wonderful group of people that is the youth of today. There is a lot of jokes made about millennials. We call them snowflakes because they are so emotionally sensitive. We say that they don't have a work ethic. They are demanding changes that really what the older generation doesn't want. So here I want to explain to you a little bit about what the value of youth is. When from the age of about 35 onwards, we're pretty set on who we are. And unless we go and make a very strong decision and follow it with active action of choice, okay? We got to choose to really do something different and make a monumental change in our life, aggressive change in our life. We generally are going to be the same from 35 on the rest of our life. That's how it goes. And if you think about it, your life, by the time you're 35, you are pretty much set into your routines, and your beliefs and your programs have been well affirmed by the behavior that you do. And the way our lives are structured, there's not a lot of room for that change. There's a small amount of time. 95% of us is pretty much solid at that point. Okay? Our days are set. We get up, we have the same cup of coffee, we have generally the same food every day, we go to take the same drive to work every day, we do the same jobs every day, we are married, we're settled to the same people in our lives every day, our friends are pretty set. Our lives are pretty set. But in youth, they are not. There's so much transition that happens between our teen years, our 20s, and into our 30s. 30s, we start confirming and building those routines, right? But up into our teens and our 20s is when we are embracing change. We're changing all the time. We get out of high school, we're released from that monotony of every day, Monday through Friday, going to school, listening to the programming, learning the program, doing the homework, maybe get a job, maybe have a little bit of more freedom, little bits of it, but really we're locked into that program. We're locked into this slavery movement, okay? But we get out of high school and now we start making some choices. Some of us decide to go on and do a university. Some of us go out and get some life experience. Some of us, there's a whole wealth of options that we start doing, but we start making choices and we start thinking. And every single day in those years is not necessarily the same day as the day before. You can't predict what the young are going to do at any given moment. That's one of the beauties of them. A young person will get up and go, I hate my job, I'm done, I'm gone. Someone in their 40s who's got a mortgage and a family and bills to pay, and a savings and a retirement plan and long-term goals and everything, they don't get up and say, you know what, my boss is pissing me off, I don't like it, I'm unhappy, I'm quitting. They don't do that. They don't take that leap and risk in life. They set it, they might plan it, but they don't take it. Whereas when you're young and you get up and you know what, you're fed up with that coworker, you're fed up with that boss, you're fed up with that job, it ain't filling your soul, you wake up and you go, screw it, I'm done today, I ain't doing it. Okay, that's the beauty of youth. So when we look at our youth, they can tell us a lot about what is wrong, okay, with our society and where we should be going. And those same youth, if you look at what the trends that youth is putting into place, it will show us the future that we're going. All right. And now older people, 35 plus, we look at the youth and we say, how irresponsible. Why aren't you doing it the way it's supposed to be done? Why aren't you doing it? Why aren't you doing it this way? And the youth is going, because that way sucks and it doesn't work. Okay, it doesn't work anymore. And that's what the youth says to us. So if you can remember Gen X, I'm a Gen Xer. We came out of school into a time where the jobs weren't plentiful. We were raised on from the baby boomers who told us, get a job with a good company and a retirement plan and live your life. This is the path. And we got out into the world and went, hey, wait a minute. That path ain't there anymore. It's not working anymore. The jobs weren't there. The retirement packages weren't there. The company loyalties weren't there. All of it had changed. The world had changed. And the baby boomers called us slackers. They called us lazy. They said, because we weren't doing what they did. We did it differently. What history is now showing, when we look back at that Gen X, when they came out into the world, we are actually having a better understanding of them now. And what we realize is that this young generation, Gen Xers, came out into a world that had changed, and they became one of the most innovative and resourceful generations known. Okay, so that's what, and we didn't necessarily, baby boomers created a lot of technology. Baby boomer or Generation X harnessed it. We brought you the tools of communication, right? We brought you Google, we brought you Facebook, not for the Facebook, but anyhow, you know what I mean. Gen Xers did that. They harnessed the internet. They figured out how to make it work. But it was the millennials that embraced it and made it a part of life. Okay, and now what else are they saying to us? So they made this whole global connection that we have. The millennials made it our lifestyle. Generation X figured out how to harness the internet and to make it into a tool that could be used. But millennials made it a part of our lifestyle. They brought that global collection together. When you're having a conversation with a millennial, they don't argue a point. They don't come up with these random facts that they remember from whatever they learned in the past. No, they pull out their Google and go, oh yeah, this is how you do it. Here's the answer to that. And they move through the conversation and they talk about the emotions, the things that they cannot go on a device to research. Things that they can't get an instant access to. They talk about their views, their emotions, what they think, how they process the information that is at their fingertips. What a different way of living. And when we look at the trends of where we are going as a society and our jobs and our technology and everything, that is exactly what we need to be doing. That is the tools we need. Whereas the older generation, we look at those and go, you're always on your phone. You're always buried in your technology. You're also emotional. I don't care what you think, right? We're all like, oh yeah, just think, random opinions. Everybody's got an opinion nowadays, right? Oh, we're also emotional nowadays. But why shouldn't we be? That is a huge part of our humanity, of who we are, right? And millennials are embracing that side of our humanity. They don't need to remember facts anymore. They don't need to have these same rituals and behaviors that the older generation did. They have new ones. And if we look at their trends, we can see what kind of society we are creating. And I personally, I don't see them as a lazy, snowflakey, unethical, unwilling to work group of people, which is what I often hear about millennials. When I look at millennials, I have great joy because I see a future that I want to be living. I see a future that is about human connection. I know that everybody says they're in their phone, they're not talking to each other anymore, but they are talking to each other. They are talking to each other on a global basis. Okay, they're globally talking and working with each other. If they are being pushed into these schools of thousands, right? So every day they're being pushed into an environment as children to figure out how to socially behave with thousands of people that they may not have anything in common with. And so what happens is they go home and they get onto their devices every chance that they get, and they communicate with people that they connect with here. They're not connecting with people because they're doing the same routine every day. They're looking for people to connect in here with how they feel, with how they think. All right? And they're listening to each other. We as an older generation don't see it because we don't work that way. Right? We want people who are doing the same routine as us, and we want to work on a very almost a surfacey basis of how are we going to work within those routines, and we have that interaction and it's very physical. The younger generation is finding their connections outside of their daily of what they have to do, because they no longer want to do what they have to do. This is why we have such a high level of anxiety and depression in teenagers, because we are pushing them through a system that doesn't work for them anymore. It doesn't work for our society anymore. It needs to evolve. And unfortunately, it's going to take the millennials to get into the positions of creativity and power in order to make those changes. If the older generation could take the wisdom of what the younger generation is telling us and use our wisdom of experience of how the system works and apply those changes, wow, now we got some movement happening, and we are faster in creating a world that we all want to be living. All right. So look to the young. What are they doing? What are the trends? Here's a big trend with the millennials. Millennials are all about houseplants. Did you know that? Did you know how they're huge about houseplants? They love houseplants, urban gardening, right? What is that telling us? That is telling us this is an entire generation that is going, we need our earth. They're wanting the connection back to our earth. And as they age, they are going to create systems that are bringing us back to a coexistence of harmony with our earth. What a beautiful thing. Do we not all want that? I want that, right? That's the trend of where we're going. Millennials are showing us the way. We no longer want to go to jobs out of slavery. We want to go and have lives that thrive, right? Well, what is the millennials telling us about that? They are telling us that the way to it is through our emotions and being aware of our personal emotions and what our personal needs of those emotions are, as well as what others in a way that is respectful to others. That's what millennials are all about. They're not, I need to have this, I need to have that, the privilege, right? Remember, the mass majority view is going to be highlighting a shadow side, because that's what we need to. The leaders that come out and actually shift it are a smaller minority. They're not going to be as loud. They're going to be showing the trends. Okay? So that's who we see it. And those people, they're telling us harmony. They're telling us harmony with nature, harmony with each other is done through respect. Right? They're demanding to be respected. And we should all be respected. They are telling us to respect ourselves. They're telling us to respect our emotions. Listen to what our emotions are. They are our inside guidance. They are a huge wealth of information that we have constantly communicating with us. And when we go in, like, what is the biggest spiritual message? What is the biggest health message out there? Okay, how do you boost immunity? How do you boost immunity? How do you improve your job? How do you get over anxiety? How do you deal with depression, mental wellness, physical wellness, our bodies recover? What is the number one message that comes through absolutely every field of discovery out there? All right, what is the number one message? Go within. Go into the heart. Feel your emotions. Go within. That has been the message throughout time. Every religion says it. Go in prayer. Go within. Go to prayer. The path to God is within. The path to self is within. It's not without. It's not following somebody else. It's not doing what somebody else tells us to do. It's about following what's inside. And we are being called to do that more and more and more. And that's what the gift of our younger generation is. That is what the millennials are not telling us, demanding from us. They are showing us this has to be done. And as they age, they're going to show us how to do it. So embrace our youth. Look to them for our wisdom. Okay, maybe now wisdom's not the right word, because wisdom comes with age and experience, right? Gen Xers, there are wisdom. You look at our elders, there are wisdom. Baby boomers, there's a lot of wisdom. A lot of wisdom in there, right? But millennials are showing us our future. They're showing us where we're going. They're giving us direction. We need to look to them, to the direction that we need to apply our wisdom in, right? Wisdom is beautiful, but if you're sitting there just being wise, you're not involving yourself in the world. And we are meant to be humans having an experience. We're in this world having an experience. So we need to actually be living and doing and applying our wisdom to our life. And so when we look to apply that wisdom, we need to look at the direction that it needs to go. We need to look to our youth, our millennials. That's where it needs to go. Okay? That's my message on youth. Hope you enjoyed it.